Research and Development of BKKBN, the Honorable Madam Sherry Hornong, the Head of Cooperation, the Embassy of Canada to Indonesia, the Honorable Madam Dian Brian, the First Secretary of Development, the Embassy of Canada to Indonesia, the Honorable Mr. Yulastia Warman, Canada, the Honorable dignitaries of BKKBN, both at central and provincial offices, the Honorable Ministry of State Secretariat of the Republic of Indonesia, the Honorable the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, university, civil society, organization, mass media, distinguished guests, colleagues and friends, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our third Ambassador Talk event with the theme Reproductive Health for Adolescent Girls to Combat Stunting. First and foremost, allow me to begin by introducing myself. My name is Ukik Kusuma Kurniawan. I am the head of Center for International Training and Development of the National Population and Family Planning Board of the Republic of Indonesia, BKKBN. And I will be responsible for moderating this. We would like to check with you all, the participants virtually, whether you can see and also hear our voice from your laptops. If yes, please give us a thumb up response like this. Could you see and also hear my voice here from your laptops? Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, yes. Some of you already give us the thumbs up response. Thank you very much. Great. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Ambassador Talks is an activity initiated by the Center for International Training and Collaboration, or PULIN BKKBN. The objective of this event is to showcase and disseminate the Bangga Kencana program from BKKBN. Stands for Family Development, Population and Family Planning Program to our foreign counterpart, as well as to explore potential collaboration and strengthening partnership between BKKBN of the government of Indonesia with its foreign counterpart. We have already conducted the first Ambassador Talks program event with the Embassy of Denmark. Then our second event with the Embassy of Japan. And today, we are honored to have the Embassy of Canada with us. Before we start, allow me to explain how participants could communicate with us during presentation. Participants could submit text question through Slido. We will send the Slido link into the Zoom chat box. You may send your question at any time during presentation. We will collect and address them during the question and answer session. Please do not forget to put your name and affiliation. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, to begin this event, we would like kindly to invite the Chairman of National Population and Family Planning Board of Indonesia, or BKKBN, His Excellency Bapak Dr. Honoris Causa Hastowardoyo, Medical Doctor, Obgyn Consultant, to give his welcoming remarks and officially open the event. After Bapak Dr. Hasto finished delivering his remarks, we would like to request all panelists and participants to take picture together with the chairman of BKKBN and also with the ambassador of Canada. But beforehand, we would like to give the floor to Bapak Dr. Hastowardoyo. Bapak Dr. Hastowardoyo, the floor is yours.
Terima kasih, His Excellency Honorable Professor Damane, Deputy Training and Research Development of BKKBN, Ms. Sherry Hornong, Head of Cooperation Embassy of Canada to Indonesia, Bapak Yulastia Warman, Kuasa Usaha Kedutaan Besar Indonesia untuk Kanada. Kami ulang, Kuasa Usaha ad interim Kedutaan Besar Indonesia untuk Kanada, para pimpinan BKBN, pusat dan provinsi, Kementerian Sekretariat Negara atau yang mewakili, Kementerian Luar Negeri atau yang mewakili, Kementerian Bappenas atau yang mewakili, akademisi, NGO, dan juga media. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, may peace be upon us all. First of all, let us thank God, Alhamdulillah, for His blessing and for us to meet today in this event. All of you are keeping healthy during the COVID-19 pandemic. I would like to convey my heartfelt gratitude to the Embassy of Canada to Indonesia and the Embassy of Indonesia to Canada for the support and participation in this knowledge sharing webinar. My warm welcome on behalf of National Population and Family Planning Board of Indonesia, PKKBN, to this event to combat stunting. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, reducing stunting is part of the Sustainable Development Goal, and ensuring proper nutrition is key to optimizing the health of girls, pregnant women, mother, and newborn. Those interventions should be planned according to human life cycle, including pre-pregnant period. Inadequate nutrition for pregnant women can result in adverse maternal and child health outcome, such as maternal deaths, premature birth, miscarriage, malnutrition, and other health risks, including stunting. Therefore, early intervention targeting adolescent girls is very important and critical. Currently, Indonesia is striving for various issues, especially in the health sector, including malnutrition and stunting. Based on recent data, the stunting rate in Indonesia has decreased. However, the prevalence is still high if compared to the World Health Organization standard, which is 20%. Ladies and gentlemen, the issue of stunting in Indonesia become one of the national priorities state in medium-term development agenda 2020 until 2024. Collaboration and convergence policy from the level of ministry until head of village to increase the access and quality of specific and sensitive nutrition intervention. Therefore, BKKBN developed the new innovation by implementing a family companion system that consists of midwife, family planning cadres, and PKK cadre. PKK cadre like family welfare empowerment cadres. The family companion accompany all family who are at risk, million pregnant women per year, who must be accompanied and supported by this family companion system. Ladies and gentlemen, various interventions for direct and indirect cause of stunting is also needed. The intervention for the direct cause include supplementary feeding for pregnant women, iron for pregnant women, breastfeeding promotion and counseling, malnutrition management, and growth monitoring and promotion. For indirect cause of stunting, we need to improve the provision and quality of nutrition and practice and nutrition of mother and child food. Excellency Bapak Joko Widodo with targeted to reduce the stunting rate to 14% by 2024. The target would not be achieved without the help of our various partners. Therefore, we need support and cooperation from multi-sector and multi-parties to achieve the target and to improve the health of Indonesian society. BKKBN stand ready to work together on the above issue with all partners to reduce the stunting rate in Indonesia. Appreciation for the cooperation. With this remark, I declare this event open and wish you all fruitful discussion. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. His Excellency Bapak Dr. Hasto Wardoyo, the Chairman of BKKBN Republic of Indonesia, for delivering your remarks. His Excellency Bapak Dr. Hasto Wardoyo and His Excellency Mr. Cameron McKay, before we move forward to the next session, we would like to take 26 participants. We would like to request your permission to join photo session together, Bapak Hasto and also Mr. Cameron. To all participants, could you please open your window screen and switch on your camera? Excuse us, we would like to count down, move backward from 3, 2, 1, action. Okay, let's start. Everyone open the window screen and switch on your camera. Okay, I would like to start counting. 3, 2, 1, action. Okay, and next page, is there any? Okay, I repeat again. I will count. Thank you very much. Is there any others? Okay. Okay, I will repeat again. We counting from 3, 2, 1. This is the last. Okay. Thank you. And now, lessons of the flash mob by genre Generasi Berencana Foundation Indonesia. Please give applause to Genre Foundation Indonesia.
Manusia kuat, itu kita jiwa-jiwa yang kuat. Itu kita manusia kuat. Itu kita jiwa-jiwa yang kuat. Itu kita manusia kuat. Itu kita jiwa-jiwa yang kuat. Itu kita manusia kuat. Itu kita jiwa-jiwa yang kuat. Itu kita. Kau bisa patahkan kakiku, patah tanganku, rebut senyumku, hitamkan putihnya hatiku, tapi tidak mimpi-mimpiku.
Thank you very much for the Genre Foundation Indonesia for a remarkable performance. Once again, please give applause for their performance. Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, for the first presenter, we kindly invite the Honorable Professor Muhammad Rizal Martua Damanik, PhD, the Deputy for Training, Research and Development of BKKBN, who will present in the next 15 minutes entitled Reproductive Health for Adolescent Girls to Combat Stunting. Bapak Profesor Rizal Martua Damanik, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Uki. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, and may peace be upon us all. Honorable Chairman of BKKBN, Bapak Dr. Hasto Wardoyo, His Excellencies, Canada to Indonesia and Timor-Leste, Honorable Ms. Seriano, Head of Cooperation, Embassy of Canada to Indonesia, Mr. Yulastia Warman, Charge of the Affairs and Interim Embassy of Indonesia to Canada, distinguished guests, colleagues and friends, ladies and gentlemen. So, in this occasion, as mentioned earlier by Pa Uki, allow me to present a presentation with the theme Reproductive Health for Adolescent Girl to combat stunting. This is our third program of Ambassador Talk, with the aim is to promote about the BKKBN, the program of BKKBN to international forum. Next slide, please. So the outline of my presentation is as follows. First is introduction, adolescent in Indonesia and stunting in Indonesia, and the concept of convergence to adolescent stunting alleviation in Indonesia, and final will be about the planning generation programs. Next slide, please. Next slide. I divided the landmark of population and family planning in Indonesia into 4 phases. 1966. In this period, the existing law prohibited the spread of family planning program, which was in 1966 to 1970. With the initiation of government concern, the government embarked upon its family planning commitment in 1967 with 2 main goals: economic progress. And in October 17, 1968, the National Family Planning Institutions was established as a semi-institution at that time. The third phase was the implementation of population and family planning program 70 until 2003. During this year, it was marked by the formation of National Family Planning Coordinating Board, or we call it as BKKBN, as a full government institution. And the fourth phase was the implementation of population and family planning program in a decentralized system, which was started from 2004 until today. Next slide, please. One of the cores of BKKBN is to build resilience and welfare among families. Therefore, BKKBN embraces its program implementation according to the human life cycle of infant, school-age child, adolescents, adult, and elderly. BKKBN has a specialized program made for each stage of the life cycles. BKKBN has a program namely BKB, or Bina Keluarga Balita, a integrative program. Another program is for family living with elderly, or we call it as BKL, or Bina Family Economic Empowerment Program. So move to the adolescents census data. Indonesia is dominated by young population, which is millennial and post-millennial, Gen Z and post-Gen Z, with about 144 million people. Or number of Generation Z has reached about 75 million people, or equivalent to 20 millennial generation, as many as 69 million people, or about 26%. 2012, or age between 8 and 23 years old, while the millennial generation are those born in the period 1981 until 1996, or age between 24 to 39 years old. The concept, next slide please. The concept of adolescence cannot be constrained to a fixed age group and differs depending on the context, 10 to 19 years old. And according to the Indonesia Ministry of Health Regulation, number 25 year 2014, define adolescents as including general population and family planning board, or BKKBN. Adolescents are those with age 10 to 24 years old and not married. Although there are differences, however, adolescence is associated with adulthood will go. Next slide, please. During this remarkable stage of the life cycle, adolescents experience rapid and significant developmental changes. The characteristic of adolescents is that they tend to curious and take risks for their actions without being preceded by careful consideration. In the decisions made are not right. Sex is still a major problem. This sexual behavior can lead to unwanted pregnancy, unsafe abortion, multiple sexual partners, and other behaviors that pose a risk of. Next slide, please. So this is some problem with the backpack. Okay. 2018 socioeconomic national surveys, 1 in every 9 girls aged 20 to 24 getting married, highest number of child marriages in the world. Pressing poverty, lack of education, and to a certain extent, cultural norms are some of the factors contributing to the prevalence of child marriage in Indonesia. Early marriage causing a complication when pregnant compared to adult women. Besides, as I mentioned earlier, that is increase also the risk of stunting in children. Next slide. That there are several problems or issues of adolescents' reproductive health. Some of them lead to stunting cases. Next slide, please. Nutrition is also important for girls. Adolescent girls whose nutritional needs are not fulfilled and giving birth at a young age potentially to give birth a stunted children. Next slide. Actually, from 37% in 2013 to 30% by 2018, and recently a 20% still relative high if compared to the World Health Organization standards, which is at the 20%. Next slide. At the district or city level is based on some indicators, such as the number of stunting children under 5 has increased every year from 100 regencies or cities in 2018 expanded to 160 regencies or cities in 2019 and to 260 regencies cities in 2020. Next slide, please. In the opening of the National Coordination Meeting of the Bangga Kencana Partnership Program on January 28, the President of Indonesia has raised some achieving national development. Second, the year of 2025 to 2035 are the peak phase of the demographic bonus period that must be continued to be capitalized. Third, healthy, productive, and quality families are the goals of the Bangga Kencana program towards Golden Indonesia 2045. Millennials and the post-millennials are the main target of the Bangga Kencana program. Communication patterns and strategy must be changed. And the Bangga Kencana program is not just only family. I would like to explain a little bit about the Bangga Kencana. Bangga Kencana is an acronym for our institution, the BKKBN. Bangga Kencana is stand for Pembangunan Keluarga, and then Kependudukan dan Keluarga Berencana. Family Development, Population, and Keluarga Berencana. All right. Next slide, please. Some of the high number of young pregnant women, weight and length, babies from 19 years, and pregnancy less than 2 years or 24 months apart. Next slide. In the 2015 to 2019, right, the medium-term national development planning, the decline in stunting was at an average 2024 medium-term national development planning, the reduction target is 2.5%, which means 0 additional stunting. And to achieve this target, an accelerated reduction in stunting is required. Next slide. So convergence trials to strengthen the field in lines are being carried out to accelerate stunting elevation in Southwest Sumba District in Nusa Tenggara Timur Province by the Coordinating Ministry of Human Development and Culture with BKKBN through pre-marriage, pregnancy, and periodic approaches. Next slide. So this is the concept of the convergence to the accelerated stunting elevation in Indonesia. Next slides. So among other convergence principles, mutual collaboration is mutual collaboration at the lower level from regency, city to village level. Stunting reduction. This platform certainly notice to the current program reorientation, namely target degradation from 0.3 to 2.5%. pandemic impact, so decreasing of public purchasing power and limitation of fiscal government capacity, and also remaining time, 3.5 years. First, client-centered approach, which requires integrated and sustainable services. It focuses on preventive efforts and outreach, reach families that have potential to give birth to stunting children through family. Next slide, please. Another platform is a client-centered approach, multi-sector level model, which is the multi-level penetration model, focuses on cross-sector coordination patterns by taking into account the existing government assistance. Next slide. Model which focuses on BKKBN program that prioritizes direct interaction with the community in both print and electronic media. Here include the preparation of pregnancy, behavior change promotion. Now, next slide, I'm going to talk about generasi berencana. One of the efforts to accelerate stunting reduction is to work of stunting includes also parenting care regarding nutritional intake and the economic condition of parents who are categorized as a poor family. Approximately 53% of adolescents aged 13 to 18 years experience chronic energy deficiency, and 48% experience chronic protein based on total diet study data in 2020. Lack of knowledge and poor diet in adolescents will possible. The stunting cycle will continue repeated. This means that stunting is a problem for quality of Indonesian human resources. If stunting rate is high, the younger generation will become a demographic burden, not as a demographic bonus. Young people must be provided with family life preparation, and it is important for them to be ready and make planning to create a healthy and prosperous family. Therefore, BKKBN developed a program, namely Genre or Planning Generation Program. The objective, women and a minimum of 25 years old for men. Next slide. This is some programs of genre through radio streaming webinar. We also launched by the chairman of BKKBN in Jakarta, Indonesia, and container genre symbolizes the joint secretariat of genre as a prototype that will be scaled up throughout the Indonesia. Next slide. Develop PIK R or Center for Adolescents Information and Counseling as a means to provide information and counseling to adolescents about adolescents' reproductive health and the necessary life is to facilitate a successful transition from adolescence to adulthood, laying a strong foundation for their future state to plan their family life by delaying the age of first marriage to be 21 years old for women and 25 years old for men, and to promote a healthy lifestyle by saying no. It could contribute to stunting reduction in Indonesia. However, various support is still needed from multi-sectors. Next slide. So, from this activity, the Ambassador Talk activity, we hope that we could strengthen our partnerships with Canada and address BKKBN or Genre Foundation. And the third, to address and work together for joint creation and innovation and knowledge. That's all from me. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bauki.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bapak Profesor Rizal Martua Damanik, for your great presentation and also review on adolescent girls related to stunting reduction program. And now, we would like to request the honor to our special guest, His Excellency Mr. Cameron McKay, as our guest of honor and speaker for today's event. His Excellency is the ambassador of Canada to Indonesia and Timor-Leste. It is our great pleasure to have you in this event, His Excellency. Within the 20 minutes, in this occasion, His Excellency Mr. Cameron McKay will share to all of us regarding Canada's feminist foreign and international assistance policy. His Excellency Mr. Cameron McKay, the time is yours.
Terima kasih, Warman Zakaria, Chargé d'Affaires at the Embassy of Indonesia in Ottawa. Professor Rizal Damanik, PhD Deputy of Training, Research and Development, BKKBN dignitaries, Genri Foundation of Indonesia, distinguished guests, Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera. It really is a pleasure to join BKK Health for Adolescent Girls to Combat Stunting in Indonesia. I'm very happy to be joined this morning by Ms. Sherry Horning, who is the head of cooperation at the Canadian Embassy here in Jakarta, who will speak in more detail about Canada's collaboration with Indonesia on family planning, reproductive health, and stunting. Our feminist foreign policy and feminist international assistance policy, including our commitments to sexual reproductive health and rights, and the importance of engaging men and boys. Catch up in just a moment, and we could go now, I think, to slide 3. Let me start by stating that Canada and Indonesia share a long-standing partnership of over 65 years. And over these years, our two countries have worked very well together to reduce poverty, advance gender equality, and deliver sustainable development in Indonesia. Since 1955, Canada has provided over $2 billion in official development assistance here in Indonesia. And we really are proud to have contributed to your country's economic foundations by, for example, supporting work in public financial management. We've also worked to support citizens, including religious minorities and women, to strengthen their voice and leadership, notably through enhanced electoralism. Going forward, we will continue to support Indonesia's efforts to achieve the SDGs. We also look forward to upcoming trade and investment negotiations as a way to create jobs and prosperity for Indonesians and Canadians alike. So slide 4 now. Distinguished guests, let me be provocative and ask if you are a feminist. I will not ask you to raise your hand, but please honestly answer the question for yourself. When Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was asked this question, he answered, yes, absolutely, I'm a feminist. Slide. And it is in this belief that we have informed Canada's domestic and foreign policy since 2015. We're proud to proclaim the Canadian government as feminist and to support abroad these values that we are working hard to build at home. Our feminist approach has led to some impressive results domestically. For example, Women's representation in politics and the public service has increased considerably in recent years. We now have gender parity in our federal cabinet. This is since 2015, and in our Senate since 2020. We have in our last federal election in 2019. 56% of Canada's federal public civil servants now are women. And before the COVID-19 pandemic, like all countries, we still have some work to do. In the past 10 years, although we have closed the wage gap by 6 cents a dollar in just the last decade, women still only earn 88 cents for every dollar of their male counterparts. Women only make up 16% of Canada's armed forces, and we're pushing to increase that to 25% by 2026. And only 35% of all management positions in Canada are held by women. So we still have a long way to go. Slide 7. The empowerment of women and girls is at the heart of Canada. Have control over their own lives, fully participate as decision makers in their homes and societies, and contribute to commitment to gender equality. Our embassy has undertaken a number of initiatives in partnership with Indonesians to promote gender equality. Let me tell you about just a few of them. First, we're increasing the number of women from Indonesia and other countries involved in international trade, and increasing the share of exports generated by women-led small and medium-sized enterprises through the Women in Trade for Inclusive Sustainable Growth project. This work is important because women's businesses are an essential part of the global and the Canadian economy. Women play a crucial role in creating jobs, growth, and long-term prosperity. In the developing world, small and medium-sized enterprises account for much of the economic growth. And worldwide, women make up close to 1/3 of formal business owners and run countless informal enterprises. Second, we're working with Indonesia to highlight and support the important role women play in international peace and security efforts, particularly in peacekeeping and international policing. We were pleased to see Indonesia's efforts to advance women, peace, and security. Our embassy continues to work with the Indonesian Foreign Ministry, UN Women, and other like-minded partners to find ways to advance this important issue here in Indonesia, including through the ELSI initiative at the United Nations. Third, we're partnering a career training program for its diplomats. This course will be held later this month and will help further mainstream gender considerations in the ministry, efforts to promote gender equality and advance women's economic empowerment in Indonesia. Through the Canada Fund for Local Initiatives, we invested over 100,000 participation in political and public activities and expanding women's involvement in developing gender responsive budgeting in their communities. I'd like to share with you an important initiative that I have personally taken this year, the No Mantle Pledge. This is a commitment that I made to encourage my male counterparts in the Indonesian government, and senior Indonesian representatives have joined me so far. This is one small action that can deliver real results and send a strong. Distinguished guests, I now want to talk in more detail about Canada's feminist international assistance policy. Canada launched this policy. The policy is based on the understanding that promoting gender equality and empowerment. Why? Well, overwhelming data and evidence shows that investing in gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls acts as a multiplier force on all other development goals. For example, educated women and girls tend to marry later, have fewer children, provide better health and nutrition to their families, and earn more income than women with little, starting businesses, creating or securing decent jobs, and investing in their families and their communities. When women and girls have control over decisions regarding their sexuality and reproductive lives, maternal and child mortality and morbidity decreases, and families thrive. Let's explore this last one even further. Women's sexual and reproductive health also affects the health of their infants. Some is more likely when pregnancy occurs earlier. In this case, ending child marriage, which is a harmful practice toward girls, should also be part of efforts to reduce adults. Data and evidence demonstrate the positive links between sexual and reproductive health and rights and women's and girls' economic empowerment. It is estimated that labor participation decreases by 10 to 15%. Adolescent pregnancy can have negative social. A girl with little or no education has fewer skills and opportunities to find a job. For all of these reasons, Canada has to age-appropriate comprehensive sexuality education and family planning, including contraception. Distinguished guests. In June 2019, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced a historic 10-year investment of $1.4 billion annually, starting in 2023, to support women and girls' health around the world, of which $700 million is dedicated to sexual and reproductive health rights. This investment is in addition to Canada's commitment of $650 million announced in 2017 over 3 years to promote sexual and reproductive health rights and build on Canada's leadership in global gender equality. Canada's sexual reproductive need and support women's rights in accessing sexual and reproductive health services. This challenge is even greater for adolescents, a project which is known as Barani. This project, among other things, addresses reproductive health. This project is implemented in 2030. As some of you know, through midwifery education and improving the maternal death surveillance and response system. The project also worked to utilize clinics for youth. The lessons learned and the good practices from this model have been shared with the Ministry of Health, who are reviewing how to expand these services to youth across Indonesia. The Barani project works with partners to advocate for policies and implement community-based programming that seeks to prevent gender-based violence, child marriage, and female genital mutilation, or FGM. In that context, I would like to congratulate the government for implementing a number of key policies and guidelines, including the Advocacy Strategy Guideline on the Prevention of Female Genital Mutilation and the National Policy on Child Marriage, launched in February of 2020. I visited one of the Barani project sites myself in Makassar just before COVID started. And my discussions there with the midwives and their trainers gave me a personal appreciation for the dedication of all the women and the men involved and their aspirations to reduce maternal and infant mortality and pursue gender equality and women's empowerment. When women and youth, especially girls, have control over decisions regarding their reproductive lives, maternal and child mortality and morbidity decreases, and families thrive. Let me talk now about our commitment to support the efforts of the government of Indonesia to reduce stunting in the national, to provide technical assistance to the government of Indonesia in food fortification by adding micronutrients such as iron, folic in women. These micronutrients are needed by a woman during the prenatal and postnatal periods for ensuring healthy birth weight and healthy childhood growth. Slide 12. Distinguished guests, gender equality cannot be achieved by women and girls alone. Men and boys must also challenge the traditions and customs that support and maintain gender inequalities. Social norms and gender stereotypes also limit men and boys in their societal and their family roles. So it's important that men and boys be personally engaged in the achievement of greater gender equality, respecting and promoting the interests of women and girls. It is particularly important to transform the attitudes of adolescent opportunity to promote positive gender norms and prevent the perpetuation of negative stereotypes throughout their lives. Fathers, especially during the pregnancy and caring for babies and infants. Many studies, including in Indonesia, have shown that the more a father is involved, the more likely that exclusive breastfeeding is fulfilled, which is key, as we know, for newborn nutrition. Therefore, fair distribution of infant and child care. And here I want to share my own personal experience as the husband of a professional working woman and as the father of 2 children who are now regularly cooked meals for my family. I washed dishes and cleaned our family home. I took my children to school and to their doctor's appointments, and I did everything I could to support my children and my wife. I believe that doing so made me a better father, a better husband, a better man, and a better ambassador for my country. And I encourage all young fathers to play the biggest role they possibly can in the lives of their children, to support their families and to give themselves the happiest memories of their lives. Slide 14. Distinguished guests, did you know that both President Joko Widodo and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau are ambassadors? Amongst the commitments made by the government of Indonesia to this movement is the pledge to reduce maternal mortality and improve vital access to reproductive health services. As members of BKKBN, you play a critical role in achieving this commitment so that women and adults. So distinguished guests, thank you. Merci beaucoup. Terima kasih banyak.
Thank you very much. His Excellency Mr. Cameron King, the Ambassador of Canada to Indonesia, for the insightful and amazing presentation and remarks on Canada's feminist foreign and international assistance policy. Once again, it was a pleasure to have you with us. Now we will turn over the time to invite the Honorable Madam Sherry Hornong, the Head of Cooperation, the Embassy of Canada to Indonesia, who will present the field of population, family planning, reproductive health, family development, including stunting reduction. Without any further ado, we kindly invite Madam Sherry Hornong. Madam, the time is yours.
Great, thank you so much. Salamat pagi semua. I'm really happy to be here today and to talk about our collaboration on these important areas of family planning and stunting. I will use my time today to talk a little bit more in detail about some of the things mentioned by Ambassador McKay. We work with the government of Indonesia on these issues. Slide 2. First, key focus areas that we have agreed to focus on with the government of Indonesia: green, sustainable, and inclusive economic growth for Indonesian women. Our programming here includes, for example, support to local women's rights organizations to work on their own professional assistance in Canada. You can see here that we have a variety of ways in which we work with the government of Indonesia. On the far left in Jakarta, and it includes 11 multi-year projects that range from $1 million to $18 million in amount. The second column in blue there is our multilateral and humanitarian programming. This, for example, our support to Nutrition International, who programs in many countries around the world. If we could just go back one slide. The next column is the other funding, and this includes funding to Canadian civil society organizations who work directly with Indonesian civil society organizations and non-governmental organizations, as well as our Canadian fund program that is growing. Finally, the other federal departments includes funding that we give, for example, our slide, please. The ambassador already mentioned the overall objective of our feminist international assistance policy. This slide shows if we could move to the next slide, please. Areas.
Mrs. Ornang has been disconnected. She's trying to log back in.
Okay.
In the meet for, yes, it's exactly this one. Just a minute. So, yes. So this slide represents a visual representation of the 6 focus areas of Canada International Assistance Programming. And as you can see from this representation, gender equality and women's empowerment is at the center that works for everyone: environment, also governance, and peace and security. If we go to slide 5. So, well, for Canada, it means that we seek to protect and promote women's rights, increase their participation, and also, and These are objectives that we pursue in our development programming, but we also, and that's also the way we operate. For example, we're included in all meetings, and that the development ministerial meetings were also meeting. I'm very sorry, you know, like, so I understand that Mrs. Ornang is trying to rejoin now, but she's still not in. So let's go to slides number 6. Example of how our feminist international assistance policy and development program are being implemented in Indonesia. The first example of all in Indonesia. As on the map, you can see from this slide, the project is covering several operation zones, and the focus is on there's 3 focus: reproductive health services and information for youth, and the third one is to work on issues such as slide 7. So before I get into the detail of the project, let me talk to you about why we are funding this kind of program. Indonesian maternal mortality ratio has been slowly declining or even has stagnated in the past 2 decades. And with the latest official estimate of 305 maternal deaths per 100,000 live births, which translates in 2 deaths per hour. With this high rate, Indonesia has the 3rd largest maternal mortality in comparison to other ASEAN countries after Myanmar and Laos. In Indonesia, approximately 30% of maternal mortality is estimated due to unintended pregnancy among young people. This underlines the importance of working with adolescents. Slide 8. So evidence shows that when we look at how we can address maternal mortality, we see that midwives. Hello? She's mentioning that she's on mute. If you can unmute her, she can start over.
Yes.
Slide 8 shows that when we and I mentioned this. So when we look at how we can address maternal mortality, we see that midwives are of essential sexual, reproductive, maternal, newborn, and adolescent health care across the lifespan. Investment in midwife is one of the most cost-effective ways to achieve full sexual rights and reproductive health coverage for women and girls. Estimates shows that increasing the investment in midwife could also save up to 4.2 million lives every year by averaging 77% of maternal death, 64% of neonatal death, and 65% of stillbirths. This is also a route to a better nutrition status. Investment in midwife is not limited to their numbers, but it's particularly also sources of information and referral to women and girls to prevent stunting, and as they interact directly with mothers. And Sherry's mic is on. Okay, Sherry, over to you. Slide number 9.
So Deanne has outlined some of the issues that the project is trying to address. So how does the Barani project support the role of midwives then in sexual and reproductive health and rights? Well, the project supports the government of Indonesia's efforts to reduce maternal mortality by increasing and improving the skills midwifery curriculum to be in line with international standards. In this regard, with the support of the project, 5 centers of excellence for midwifery education have been established in the areas you see on the screen there in Jakarta, East Java, South Sulawesi, skills of Indonesian midwives, and increasing the capacity of health workers to provide sexual and reproductive health. This project has also supported the Indonesian Midwives Association in advocating for its members' professional development, as well as advocating for an enabling. The project also provides training to the Indonesian Midwives Association to increase quality assurance on the practice of midwifery in the country in reducing maternal mortality during the period from 1970 to 2017. So obviously, Indonesia's family planning program. This initiative involves government, including your agency and the Ministry of Health. It includes donors, civil society organizations, faith-based organizations, and the implementation operationalization of the National Family Planning Program. This partnership has. Let me just review quickly now a little bit about how adolescent reproductive health helps combat stunting and availabilities for young people in schools. This includes working with the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Education to increase the capacity of. This resulted in a training module for teachers on gender transformative comprehensive sexuality education, and so far, sexual and reproductive health services by trained midwives and general practitioners through a model we refer to as UNALA, for youth-friendly sexual reproductive health and rights. They have established a network of general practitioners that work closely with youth networks to provide a comprehensive package of appropriate, high quality, and youth-friendly services for young people, which includes counseling for young people, physical examinations, as well as specialist youth events at schools and youth centers. Young people, especially girls, are provided with the skills and information. UNALA model is implemented in partnership with Yayasan Sekolah Sehat Indonesia, a local NGO based in Jakarta. And next slide, please. Via this project, we have also been working jointly with Bappenas and the Ministry of Women's Empowerment in developing the national strategy on the prevention of child marriage, which was launched in February 2020. Programs, which, as we heard earlier, is an important tool to reduce stunting. This work serves to help eliminate 2% to 8.74% by 2024. Finally, through technical assistance, the project has also, this work is in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, your agency, the Indonesian Midwives Association, religious leaders, and young people. Next slide, please. Now, let me talk a little bit about our programming with Nutrition International. Canada is particularly proud of this work because we do this work because it is critical to invest in nutrition for women and girls. Globally, 1 billion women are malnourished, and this limits prosperity, growth, and human development. Anemia affects 500 million women of reproductive age worldwide and 38% of pregnant women. Adolescent girls are particularly affected. And their lack of access to good nutrition is which seeks to reduce gender inequalities because of the multiplier effect it has on the health, well-being, and economies of communities and countries. We have heard from previous speakers that Indonesia has ambitious targets and programs to reduce stunting, and Canada is proud to support these efforts, especially the life cycle, client-centered, and multi-sectoral approach that has been talked about. Next slide, please. So here in Indonesia specifically, the Nutrition International program is approximately 2.7 million to improve public health and nutrition through micronutrient supplementation and food fortification. Nutrition, next slide, please. So let me just walk through some of the primary objectives of this funding: promoting vitamin A supplementation for children under the age of 5, and scaling up oral rehydration salts and zinc supplement for childhood diarrhea management. Next slide, please. Other objectives of this funding in Indonesia includes to reduce anemia among in-school adolescent girls via weekly iron and folic acid supplementation, promoting universal salt iodization to prevent iodine deficiency disorders. Third, improve wheat fortification standards, monitoring quality assurance, control, and legislation. Let me just talk about this one a little bit more in detail, because currently Nutrition International is the only development partner in Indonesia that works on wheat flour fortification. And they've been doing this work since 2016. They've worked with the government to adopt the new wheat flour fortification standards and support the development. All 21 wheat flour millers are involved in implementing the new standards. And this means that over 3.9 million women of International provides international assistance to the government about nutritional programs as part of the Scaling Up Nutrition International takes. We heard earlier that BKKBN also takes a life cycle approach, so this aligns well. And broad governance of nutritional programming. And then as you move left through the circle, you can see various initiatives that people. Next slide, please. Terima kasih, thank you, merci beaucoup, and thank you once again for joining us here today. Thanks.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Madam, the first Secretary of Development, the Embassy of Canada to Indonesia, who provide us with the important information, mainly very much. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, this morning we have also a representative from young generation from Indonesia. It's a state of expression on behalf of the genre or Generasi Berencana Indonesia Youth Foundation. Therefore, I would like to kindly invite the leader of genre or Generasi Berencana Indonesia Youth Foundation, Ms. Nanda Rizka Savitri. Ms. Nanda, the time is yours.
Thank you, Pak Oki. My Excellencies, our Ayah and Bunda in BKKBN, brother and sister, good morning. Greetings to all. Om Swastiastu. I believe there is no accidental gathering that day-to-day God and the universe give His blessing to the world with a harmonious and peaceful life through the voices of all teenagers in Indonesia from various identities and backgrounds to speak honestly from the deepest of our soul about dreams and hopes in order to break the stunting chain. Genre Indonesia, which formed alongside the Indonesian government through the Population and Family Planning on Board, BKKBN, has become a place for teenagers to grow of the spirit of development and resilience on Indonesian families. Moreover, BKKBN has helped us to see the problem much more clearly and give us the opportunity to be meaningful involved in creating a better future for youth so that we can, and to get the bonus, Indonesia must be able to create such a healthy, well-tough, and high-integrated generation. Women should also get much more opportunities to be involved in the labor market to channel their skills, thoughts, and expertise in the development process. Stunting harms millions of the nation's children and threatens by making them the key point of stakeholders. We believe that stunting is not only a matter of nutrition, but also comprehensive knowledge of reproductive health with a big meaning about the pattern of parenting and the psychological state of women in maintaining the growth and development of the fetus in the womb. The tough generation is born from mothers who are healthy, knowledgeable, feel safe and comfortable enough to give birth to their babies. Research shows that DNA not only carries the physical genes, but also character and mental scars. Furthermore, the lifestyle and trauma impacts when they are growing. Hence, this is the moment where, for us to convey some of the recommendations we have as the result of our thoughts, of our love about one National Youth Summit on June 10, 2021, involving hundreds of youth from all over Indonesia. We want such meaningful involvement that can continuously be used as a principle in helping youth and formulating policies. We want the government to open the widest opportunity to collaboration space by involving. We also want all elements to optimize the information and counseling center for teenagers as the front line in screening psychological problems. We want all parties to seriously social media by constantly providing knowledge and involving youth in every development activity. Accusing children of committing adultery before to develop the potential and ideas for development progress. And it is a serious violation of the right to life as a free human beings. Child marriage causes serious problems and have a great impact on the birth of stunting babies. And this opportunity, we are hoping that Indonesian Youth can also collaborate with the government and youth in Canada, exchanging the information, knowledge, and experience, and welcoming such a different cultures in the very good provisions for us to create various innovations and effective solutions to this stock. And I think that's good for us. Once again, stunting is our problem, and it is our responsibility to equip youth with comprehensive reproductive knowledge and comprehensive health services. For a world that is human, harmonious, and becomes the most peaceful place for all living beings and gives meaningful to their lives. May God bless in this good attention. I love you. Thank you. Salam genre. Thank you, Pauki.
Thank you very much, Ms. Nanda Rizka Saputri, for representing Indonesian young voices and spirit to all of us. Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, before we move to the question and answer session, the last but not least, we would like to invite our colleague from the Embassy of Indonesia in Ottawa, Canada. We are also honored to have the Honorable Mr. Yulastia Warman Sakaria. He is the Chair d'Affaires, Embassy of Indonesia in Ottawa. In this occasion, within 10 minutes, he will give remarks on behalf of Indonesian Embassy to Canada on diplomacy policies between Indonesia and Canada in the field of population, family planning, reproductive health, family development, including stunting reduction. We kindly invite Bapak Yulastia Warman Sakaria. The Honorable Mr. Yulastia Warman, the time is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Uki. A very good evening to us all, my dear colleagues and friends. May we and our families always be blessed with good health. Before I begin, I would like to convey my highest appreciation for Dr. Hasto Wardoyo, MD OB-GYN, the chairman of the BKKBN. It is an honor for me to be invited to this event. I would also like to extend a warm greeting to Your Excellency Ambassador Kamara subject matter. It is truly an honor for me to share a panel with you today. And of course, to the fellow presenters who have been appeared before me, Bapak Profesor Rizal Damanik, PhD, Ms. Sherry Hornung from the Embassy of Canada in Jakarta, and Ms. Nanda Saputri from Genre Indonesia Foundation. What you have explained has given me the information and fresh insight to the issue at hand. Population and family planning is something that is very close to our daily lives. We all live within the framework of family unit, and a healthy and functioning society is the aggregate of a healthy and functioning family units. It is safe to say that in order to have a well-run country, it has to be built from the ground up, from the smallest unit in the society point, has performed many initiatives to tackle the problems in family planning, population issue, and reproduction health, which includes stunting. I believe earlier in the event, Professor Rizal Damanik has comprehensively presented what the government of Indonesia has been doing to manage those issues. It is a gargantuan task, and though we face many challenges domestically, as for our efforts in international fora, I would like to take us back to year 2020, especially to the annual press statement of our Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi, which outlined the 4+1 foreign policy priorities, includes many of our initiatives on human development, including on the subject matters of family planning, population, and reproduction. The government of Indonesia has prioritized equity in the MCPR, or modern methods contraceptive prevalence rate, among diverse group of women, and continues making improvement in the quality of services. Since its original FP 2020 commitment in 2012, Indonesia has increased domestic investment for family planning, and in 2017, it's other integrated family planning into its national health insurance scheme and aims to expand its reach to engaging the private sector and including postpartum and post-abortum services in the scheme. The government of Indonesia has committed to strengthening the integrated approach for right-based family planning programming at the subnational level. To operation 2017-2019, in coordination with Bappenas and BKKBN. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, we understand that we are still facing considerable challenges in family planning and reproductive health research and information dissemination. That is why, on the multilateral level, Indonesia has helped establish the Knowledge Hub for Reproductive Health under the auspices of the United Nations Population Fund, or UNFPA, as well as to promote evidence-based advocacy for policy strengthening in collaboration with Bappenas and also Fakultas Kesehatan Masyarakat UI. The government of Indonesia through BKKBM has also struck a memorandum of understanding with UNFPA Indonesia and Fatayat Nahdlatul Ulama Indonesia on the involvement of religious and community leaders in promoting family. Considering that the majority of our population is religious and puts strong trust in religious or community leaders, this initiative is a welcome addition to our arsenal in combating bad practices in family planning, reproductive health, and gender-based violence. As for our most recent efforts internationally, we have also collaborated with UN entitled strategies to address malnutrition and stunting among women and girls in Indonesia and the Philippines on 22nd April 2021. Distinguished colleagues, apart from our own diplomatic efforts and these subject matters, we would like also to appreciate Canada for being such a steadfast partner in assisting Indonesia on global level. In 2017, Global Affairs Canada committed 650 million Canadian dollar as international assistance on the management of sexual reproductive health rights issues, which has directed to Indonesia as one of the many recipients 19. We also note and highly appreciate Canada's continuous commitment through the Family Planning Summit for Safer, Healthier, and Empowered Futures in 2017, International Conference on Family Planning in 2019, as well as other fora such as International Planned Parenthood Federation, Population Services International, UNFPA to provide assistance and capacity building to its partner countries. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the issue on family planning, population, and reproductive health is an issue that must be solved simultaneously on the domestic level and on the global level through diplomacy, and those two fronts are very much interlinked. For the member of the UN Economic and Social Council, and we will continue our global effort on the improvement of this issue all relation for the betterment of our societies, whether through bilateral or multilateral avenues. I thank you for your kind attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Mr. Yulastia for your remarkable statement regarding the diplomacy policy between Indonesia and Canada. Thank you. Now, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, we are going to begin answering some questions submitted during today's presentation. But we apologize due to the limited time constraint. There will be only His Excellency, based on the Slido questions list, you have two questions. For Vita from BKKBN Provincial Office of Lampung. Her question is, how does Canada's Feminist International Assistance policy enhance or persuade gender mainstreaming in Indonesian policy making related to stunting reduction effort? That's the first question for Mr. Ambassador. The second question for Mr. Ambassador is from Generasi Berencana Indonesia, to obtain international support on genre activity to build a healthy young society. That's two questions for His Excellency, Mr. Ambassador. Then the third question addressed to Madam Sherry Hornang. Madam Sherry Hornang, the question is, how is the collaboration between BKKBN and professional organizations to promote health and stunting in Indonesia? Lastly, the fourth question is addressed to Madam Dian Brian. The question is from Ananda. Ananda from Ibu Dian Brian. How do you get used to a healthy lifestyle in coastal communities where this is difficult to get vegetable and fruit? What is the solution? I think that's all the 4 questions posted by our audience. And now we would like to invite His Excellency Mr. Ambassador to give response. The floor is yours, His Excellency.
Thank you very much, and excellent questions. On the first question about our feminist international assistance policy and how it contributes to our support for efforts to minimize stunting in Indonesia. I mean, I think I spoke about that a little bit in my remarks at the beginning. The fact is that Canadian government policy across the board is feminist policy. We have a feminist international assistance policy. We have a feminist foreign policy. Canada's trade policy is infused with feminism to encourage more women to trade. Our national defense policy, strong, secure, and engaged, it's called, also includes clear commitments to increase the role of women in the Canadian Armed Forces, etc. So this feminist approach infuses everything we do. Programs all support this feminist approach. And then on the feminist international assistance policy, I think I spoke in detail about the Barani improving the condition and education and rights of women, and that they're educated when they have children, waiting longer until they have children, ensuring that they are really prepared to have and raise a child, including that they have contraception available to them until they are prepared to be a mother, and that fathers have this access as well. Many men are not prepared to be fathers until they've reached a certain level of education, etc. So we think that all of this helps to contribute to improving Indonesia's record on stunting. Our feminist international assistance policy again infuses all of the development assistance that Canada provides in Indonesia, everything from climate change to peatland mass and gender equality lens, to try to ensure that every dollar we spend is spent as wisely as possible. And that comes back to what I said in my presentation about really the importance of ensuring equality for women and girls is one of the key elements in ensuring the development of any country. The second question about with GenRe and international support, etc., to reach out to the Canadian Embassy, you can reach out to myself or Sherry Horning, and we'd be happy to follow up and have a more detailed discussion with you about whether, how much.
Mr. Ambassador of Canada to Indonesia, for your response and also comments toward those 2 questions. Also, the government of Indonesia really convey its gratitude to Global Affairs Canada, GAC, as you mentioned, that continuously supported us. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. And now for the third question, we would like to give the floor to Madam Sherry Hornang. For the question, how is the collaboration between BKKBN and professional organization to promote health and stunting in Indonesia? Ibu Sherry, the floor is.
And the question, how the collaboration is between BKKBN and professional organizations, the approach to stunting, taking a life cycle approach, taking a multi-sectoral approach, and taking a client-focused approach, clear various professional organizations that can assist with this. Indonesia is a large country and stunting has so many different factors, and to achieve the ambitious targets that have been set out by the government, you're going to want to benefit from the expertise of professional organizations, youth groups, other ministries, donors, religious leaders, really a very broad approach. So I've only been here for a few months. I can't speak to how well that collaboration that we think is important and that we would be supportive with. Deanne has also asked that I speak to the question that was asked to her around Canada's approach, and in particular is not a large issue. Our approach to nutrition generally looks at, the age of child marriage is fairly high, as is the age of first pregnancy. We have midwives to provide them information for their pregnancy. And food is generally available, and even for people who might not be able to afford nutritious food, in many parts of the country there are programs such as food banks or monetary supplements that allow people, women who maybe cannot afford nutritious food, to do so. That being said, adults in Canada, both men and women, are actually considered obese, and that has its own health impacts on people. And there are many reasons for this, from a lack of sufficient exercise, both in children and adults, from the type of food that people consume, either because of what is available or because of the price. So that is these maybe not so much coastal communities, but communities in the north that are cut off from having good access to fruits and vegetables, and there is an issue. And certain communities are not getting as much fresh fruit and vegetables as they need. So that is an ongoing effort, but I'm not an expert in Canada's nutritional programs, but I would say some of the challenges are similar to here, and some of the challenges I think are quite different. I'll stop there. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Ibu Sherry Hornang, for your response, and also Ibu Dian Brian. Thank you very much. And we would like to thank all the panelists for answering those questions. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, we are now coming to the last part of the Ambassador Talks with Canada. For closing statement, we would like to invite Research and Development BKKBN Republic of Indonesia to deliver his remark. Bapak Profesor Rizal Martua Damanik, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Pak Uki. Mr. Ambassador yang saya hormati, Excellencies, Pak Dr. Hasto Wardoyo, and Ms. Sherry Yang, Head of Cooperation Embassy of Canada to Indonesia, and Pak Yulastia Warman, the outcomes of this important event, and to provide my closing remarks. Normally, this event, the Ambassador Talks, are conducted live condition currently in Jakarta, so we have to communicate through this virtual meeting. Mr. Ambassador, I'm happy and would like to invite this pandemic to visit our kampung village or village Keluarga Berem, the BKKBN program conducted in those villages throughout Indonesia. So I'm happy to accompany you to visit those villages. BKB, the family development program of under 5 years old babies, and then for the genre, also for the elderly kampung throughout Indonesia. It is my hope that one day we can visit together the village. Your staff include the Ibu Sherry Hornang, Head of Cooperation of Canada to Indonesia. On behalf of the BKKBN National Population and Family Planning, I'd like to extend, of course, my appreciation to Mr. Ambassador, Bapak Cameron McKay, Kanada, Pak Yuria Setiawarman dari Embassy Indonesia in Canada, in Ottawa, for the topic of reproductive health for adolescent girls to combat stunting. I would also like to thank our respected participants for their presence and valuable contribution to this event. I would also like to thank all officials, in particular to the Center for International Training and Collaboration of BKKBN and the organizing committee for the good job in implementing the ambassador talk, even with the embassy of the performance and the effort. Finally, allow me to close my remarks by wishing all of you every success, good health, and future prosperity. With some of those notes, on behalf of BKKBN, I declare the ambassador talk event with the theme reproductive health for adolescent girls to combat stunting now is officially closed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bapak. Thank the Center for International Training and Collaboration of BKKBN. We would like to express our appreciation for your valuable contribution and also officially announce the end of this event. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Hopefully to see you again in our next event. After this closing ceremony, we would also like to invite you to enjoy the performance of your name into the application provided at the chat box. Thank you very much. Stay safe and thank you. Good morning. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih banyak.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih. Thank you.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Ibu Sherry. Thank you. Terima kasih Genre. By
Hello.
Miss Feli.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So we would like to sing a song which is entitled Amazing Well-Planned Life. This is a song about the well-planned generation. 2, 3, go. I want to travel to an amazing place. You need to make an organized plan, a fancy and contemporary. Do not waste any time that you have. Better to spend it going, plan everything before going. Having a well-planned life is amazing. Having a well-planned life. Do not waste any time that you have. Better to spend it wisely to make a plan. Plan everything before going. Plan everything before going. Having a well-planned life is amazing. Having a well-planned life. Getting married is not as easy as dating. We should consider the age of marriage. The number of children should also be. Do not waste any time that you have. spend it wisely to make a plan. Everyone, everything easy. Once again, plan everything before going. Plan everything before going. Having a well-planned life is amazing. 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 You're
Beautiful
welcome.
song. Yeah. Mr. Deputy, this is the first time the song of Berencana Itu Keren has been translated into English. Is there any performance? Okay. And now we would like to invite the colleagues from Genre Youth Foundation.
Mau yang matang, gaya hidup hewan yang kekinian, itu yang ada, jangan disia-siakan. Sempatkan bikin rencana masa depan. Rencanakan segalanya sebelum melangkah, hidup berencana. Rumah tangga tak segampang pacaran. Usia nikah mesti diperhatikan. Jumlah anak juga direncanakan. Tujuan waktu yang ada jangan disia-siakan. Sempatkan bikin rencana masa depan. Rencanakan segalanya sebelum melangkah, hidup berencana. Itu
kita jiwa-jiwa yang kuat. Itu kita manusia-manusia kuat. Itu kita jiwa. Itu kita jiwa-jiwa yang kuat. Itu kita manusia kuat. Itu kita bisa patahkan kakiku, patah tanganku, rebut senyumku, hitamkan putihnya hatiku, tapi tidak mimpi-mimpiku.
Move into the stage, termasuk Ibu Feli, Mbak Feli, silakan. And also the colleagues, Mr. Deputy would like to have picture with you. And also Ibu Damanik. We invite Ibu Nanda also. Mbak Nanda.